Well, it's not just words, Clinton, because it was something that I felt and I watched you. I got to watch when you didn't know I was watching. I watched you interact. I watched you walk into the room. It wasn't about you. The room could have been just completely about you. Um, let's go back. We were talking right before we started recording too that the 50-year anniversary of hip hop, and you said something to me that hit me because this was something that helped me to um, be okay. And what we talk about that.
Yeah. So what I was saying to you is the reason that I have the confidence with walking my own path and, doing the things that I want to do despite other people believing in it or supporting it. Well, there's two reasons. The main reason is because trial and error, case studies, and going through life and figuring out the formula that works. Right? It's not my formula; it's the formula that can work for everybody if they figure it out. But yet, in order to figure that out, you have to remove ego. And a lot of other things you need to remove too in order to figure that out. Because you'll say, "Why would I do that? I'm going to follow your way, or I'm going to listen to you, or you think you have the answers." Like, it's not my answers, bro. It's the answers that I'm just trying to share with you. But if you see that it's coming through the vessel of me, so therefore your ego won't allow you to receive it, then that's going to be your bad for a very long time. But the reason I was able to, at 15 years old, kind of start walking my own path, uh, unapologetically, was De La Soul's "Me, Myself, and I" song and video. Prior to that, I always kind of felt like a loser and a misfit and an oddball, and I didn't fit in, and like, because from my upbringing and not having guidance and my father not being around and whatnot. But that's another story. But when I watched that video, I was always trying to figure out, like, who am I? What am I? Because I didn't have anybody showing me or teaching me or helping me figure that out. So when I watched that video, "Me, Myself, and I," which you know the song, and if anybody doesn't know it, I suggest you get familiar with De La Soul, "Me, Myself, and I." Um, but it was that song and that video where they were kind of acting as if they were three oddballs in the video, which technically they are, right? In real life and musically, they were definitely like original people doing something that no one else was doing that felt very weird and odd with the flowers and the hippie movement and everything. But in the video, they were like three kids in school that nobody really like understood and they didn't fit in and they were just still okay with being me, myself, and I. And like, dude, it impacted me so much that I combed my hair the same way with a slant that Pasta News did. And like, I'd be wearing purple pants and a green shirt and like a handkerchief on my head and one sock over my pants and like multicolored sneakers. Like from 15 on, you can ask anybody in high school back then, they would think I was weird. As we got older, they all look back and say like, man, it was awesome how you were just you and you didn't care. And like, if any kids ever listen to this or listen to me, everybody always says things will work out, everything's okay in the end, but you can't put an old head on young shoulders. And a lot of like kids feel like their world is so small that they feel like when like this one little thing's going wrong, their whole world is falling apart, right? And this applies to adults too, because you build such a kind of isolated world that if these two things are going wrong in your world, you feel your whole world's collapsing. But the world is much bigger than that little world that you just developed. And when I was a kid, if someone didn't like me, which is always going to be some punks that like, talk shit to me or like don't like the way I dress, or you know, I lived in black neighborhoods and white neighborhoods, and I got the worst from both. Do you know what I'm saying? And learned the best from both as well. But I was always too kind of white for the black kids and too black for the white kids when I was coming up. So again, I didn't really fit in. But what I will say is that nothing really matters, man. None of that shit matters. It doesn't have any relevance to your future. It's not anybody that talks shit or anyone that doesn't believe in you or anyone that doesn't like you. It doesn't fucking matter, man. Like, it really doesn't matter because it's not the world's goal to figure out how to like you. It's your goal to figure out who you want to connect to and who you like and who deserves to be around you and in your world. And you should never change your world to fit into somebody else's. Develop your world that makes you happy, and then go find a tribe that fits into your world, because there's other people out there just like you. Even if they're not in your neighborhood and your school right now, you will find them. And with the internet, it's so much easier to find people that are into the same thing as you. But look, man, there's a saying like, everything will work out in the end. If it didn't work out, then it's not the end. And if you apply that to your life, then you'll realize, like, man, and look, I didn't know this at that age. That's why I'm sharing it now. It took me a long time to realize, like, really, none of this shit matters, man. If something doesn't work out, oh well, something else will. Like, if someone doesn't believe in you, oh well, somebody else will. And by the way, nobody matters more than you, believing in yourself. And if others don't believe in you, then that's their bad. It's not your job to convince people that you're great. It's just be great. And if the right people will recognize it, then they understand great. And those that don't, that's their fault for not understanding that you're fucking great.